Hi, welcome to HeKate's Crossing. Where do we begin with Tarot de Marseille? There's so many different styles. Now, Tarot de Marseille is its own style, but it comes with many variations. It's not just one set of cards. There's so many out there to choose from. Where do you begin? Oh my god, there's so many. There are some modern decks, okay, and then there's some that are a bit more traditional. There's some that are based on like the Visconti-Sforza here, which is the Italian hand painted deck, commissioned especially for the family as a triumph. And then, of course, you've got the minors and all that, but we're not going to worry about that now. You've got some antique edition type sets from Lo Scarabeo. Now, there's all sorts of Tarot de Marseille style decks. This is a Conver. Lo Scarabeo came out with a Burdel, called Burdel deck. Then you've got with the Spanish Tarot and the Ancient Italian, of course, and then you'll find kits that come out like this here. Okay, and then the last thing I want to show you is as a Kickstarter, the Tarot del Tango, based on the Marseille, but this is an Argentinian creator, but used art in which I think is quite incredible. So even though this is all based on Tarot de Marseille, of course the imagery is very modern, of course, very quite different compared to other things. So how do you start working with these, with Tarot de Marseille style decks? How do you start learning the basics? Now, the first thing I suggest is to take out all the major arcana. Leave the minor arcana to one side. Just use the major arcana for now, just to sort of start learning. Don't try and sort of just put them to one side. Now, the first thing I suggest is always to pick out, choose just the first few cards. So you might choose, say, the first 7, 8 cards there, from 0 to the Chariot, right? So you might do that. Just choose the first lot of cards. And then you're going to sort of look at the keywords of those cards. Just 1 or 2 keywords. Okay? So for like the Fool, we know is maybe he's folly, he's eclectic, he might be, or unique if you like, he might be his own person, a sense of new beginnings. He creates new beginnings. There's that sense of stepping out of the void into the darkness, you know, whatever. Free-spirited, he's free-spirited. Okay, just choose 1 or 2 keywords, whatever makes sense to you. Then you look at the Magician. What keywords suit the Magician? What keywords suit the Papist or the High Priestess? Then you've got the Empress, the Emperor, the Pope, or the Pap, or the Hierophant. Then you've got the Lovers, and then you've got the Chariot. So you're just choosing a few keywords to begin with before you start exploring any more. So just take your time, 7 cards at a time, going through and having a look at just the keywords, reading the books, reading a few books. So I want to have a look at, well, I don't want it in language, let's do it in English. So I want to go into the Tarot del Tango. Okay, now we know that it's based on the is connected to the Tarot de Marseille. So we got in the Tarot de Tango deck, Marseille tarot figures have been replaced by the Tango equivalents. Queen and King of the Dancers, etc. The major arcana or triumph traditionally make up of a set of 22 cards, closely related by the symbol. Great challenge to reach such unity while asking 22 artists their own version. So here we go. So I really want to sort of dive into the Tarot del Tango. So I've had a look at, I sort of understand basically what the Tarot de Marseille is. Whether I've used the Tarot Kit, Tarot de Marseille, Lo Scarabeo, the Burdel, Tarot de Marseille in the Conver, Visconti-Sforza, the ancient Italian, or the Spanish tarot, or any other of the Tarot de Marseille style decks. So I'm going to go in. I want to start learning Tarot del Tango. Okay, I haven't really looked at it. I really want to start exploring it. It's time for me to really start looking at this deck and having a look at what it means. So let's have a look at the full. Okay, so I want to have a look at what the artist said. Okay, the artist is Alejandro Ross. Okay, he's graphic designer, born in Tuscany. So it just talks about his thing. Okay, so the full. He's a wanderer, walker, and adventurer who leaves everything behind to venture into the unknown. In the Ballad of Piazzolla and Ferra, he claims, "I know I am pianteo, crazy." And like the milonguero in the Baldosa Floria, he roams the world with indomitable freedom. The fool represents the fundamental energy that sustains the world, the flow of life, the irresistible forward movement of the abounding river that runs. He can be a sacred madman or a simple fool, a pilgrim or a vagabond, a fugitive or a wise man. He cannot be limited to a single definition. He incites us to recognize a very strong impulse, whether he is to travel or to launch a new enterprise. On this card, the wandering fool is already withdrawing from the card. Without second thought, always on the run, he's off to dance his ballad. Okay, so that's interesting. So he's already withdrawing from the card without second thoughts, always on the run, he's off to dance his ballad. Okay, so now we're going to look at the Magician. The Magician was one of Carlos Gardel's nicknames, the inventor of Tango, who achieved international fame in the early 1930s before dying tragically. Oh, by the way, this artist is Claudio Roncalli. Okay, so in the early 1934, dying tragically in a plane crash on June the 23rd, 1935. However, popular legend has it that he sings better every day. The Magician of the Tarot initiates events, inaugurates new adventures. This card represents the energy of beginnings, a new activity, a range of possibilities that can generate some confusion at the moment of choosing. The qualities of the Magician are agility, impetuous, and spirit of initiative, as well as internal youthfulness that can sometimes indulge in immaturity. He can be either as initiate or a trickster, a cunning conjurer. His great challenge is to leave the realm of potentiality for that of reality. His great challenge is to leave the realm of potentiality for that of reality. Okay, so the next card I'm going to look at is by Claudia Mello, is the artist. Okay, now this is the High Priestess. Okay, symbolizes the depth of the feminine, the receptive attitude from which learning and creativity are generated. She can be adored and praised or feared for her cold righteousness. In the Tango, she corresponds to the emblematic figure of the mother, reserved, wise, of pure ideals and deep feelings, guardian of the intrinsic identity of the human being. Poor mother, I forgot about her when I fell asleep in the arms of vice, says the Tango con los amigos. Patient high priestess could be a writer or an accountant, study a new career, a score, or a role. Here, her dignified wait takes place in the tango room, where she is patiently seated and ready to be invited to dance, while her blue dress shows an apparent modesty, the background of her tanguidia in passionate red and carmine. Okay. Now, even though we're not going to memorize the whole of the meaning, it's going to give us one or two keywords that maybe we can sort of focus on without trying to do too much. So we know that the high priestess can be about a receptive attitude. Okay, so in here we're learning about our receptive attitude. So this could be about learning and creativity are generated. So now we look at receptive attitude, learning, creativity are generated. Receptive attitude, okay. Okay, so we're going to go back to that. We're going to go back to them a few times. Okay, so next we have Alejandro Bovo Pilier. Okay, with the Empress. Rare, as if on fire, I found you drinking, beautiful and fatal. The beginning of Los Maridos by Cobian and Camo seems to speak of the explosive and sensual woman represented by the Sakana, which combines fascination and fertility. She is a figure of warm motherhood, of seductive femininity, of unconditional beauty, of youth and adolescence. She reigns and she assumes her role. I am the most bewitching one of singing and at loving too, says Piazzolla and Ferraz Maria de Buenos Aires. The Empress brings a springtime energy, enthusiastic, intense as the Thor. Here she is presented as the Pachamama, Mother Earth, in all her might, with the emblems of the imperial eagle and the Tango bandoneon on her body. An insatiable fire is in her chest. Ah, I see. Chest. Watching the games of seduction on the dance floor. Okay, next by Augustine Viñas, El Emperador, the Emperor. If the Emperor manages not to be a macho male chauvinist, he embodies the masculine role model, providing leadership and security, fatherly love, faithfulness, social order, material welfare, and constructive stability. And the theme of the tango songs, the Guapo and the Compadrito, who manifests male strength in spite of his humble social background, represents the earthly and temporal power, the conquest of material goods, and the ability to settle territory. Handsome and male, and among the broken down people, patron for your courage and cold blood, describes the tango. Wipoye Veron, that masculine forthright energy can become oppressive and in the worst case turn dictatorship. Here the Compadrito emerges from the background of the Sicilian tango orchestra. Perhaps as a tribute to the harlequins of the Rio de Plata by the Argentine artist Emilio Pettoruti. His slanted posture suggests that in spite of these straight lines, the emperor should not become rigid to protect his reign. That's an interesting card. Okay, next by Max Rompel is the Pope, right? Or the Hierophant, the Pope in this card. Life is the marked deck. The band of God shuffles the cards, wrote the poet Homero Manza in the Tango Montecristo. From that worldview, the Pope is the gambler in charge of spiritual power in the earthly world. Saint or trickster, his role is to guide us toward a beyond, to a bridge, to transmit an ideal, to justify the hierarchy that allows us to evolve. He represents the union, the means of communication, and the vision of an aim to be attained. In this card, his features are those of the great conductor and composer Osvaldo Puglisi, who, in spite of being persecuted, censored, and imprisoned for his political opinions, achieved fame and fever to the point of being considered in popular culture as anti-mufa, a lucky charm. Saint Puglisi is the righteous and kind Pope of Tango, who shows the way to the divine music and encourages us to dare a little more. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? Wow, okay. Let me have a look at this. Okay, Alibaba. Okay. Next we have The Lover by Ernesto Ariano. Okay, it represents the fact of following one's heart and the endless complexity of emotions and relationships. On the one hand, beauty, harmony, falling in love, and on the other, jealousy, conflicts, difficulty to choose. The name of the card carries an ambiguous meaning. Who is the lover? Is he the central character, or the sun, Eros, aiming from above at the human realm with his bow and arrow? In Tango, lovers celebrated the day you loved me, the rose that adorns me with your dress in its best colour. El dia que me quieras is often missed as a nostalgias. I want to get my heart drunk to extinguish a crazy love that more than love is suffering. This arcana encourages us to overcome the wounds of the past and to live the present life with its limits as well as its magic. Okay, the last card for today, because we're not doing too much. We're not going to go overboard. So this is by Lux Lindner, The Chariot. The vehicle represents the body and the driver, the spirit, when they work as one. Our capacity for action is manifested, which allows us, as prescribed in alchemy, to spiritualize matter with attention and materialize spirit with intention. This card symbolizes acceleration, realized potentialities, and triumph. The chariot advances in full coherence with the movement of reality, just like the Carrierito Porteño Buenos Aires cart driver. In the Tango, Mano Blanca, in his brand new charming carriage, who overcomes all obstacles to meet the girlfriend who awaits him. This card speaks of travel, of new horizons, and of the ability to act in the world, that is to say, in the service of situations, and not in an egocentric way. If the chariot becomes navel-gazing, but does not fine-tune its energy, it converts itself into public danger. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go through and I want to write up somewhere just a couple of keywords for each card, without going into too much detail here. So it's quite interesting to sort of go through, grab your books, and actually work out what each card means. Now, I'm not going to go into all those cards. Now I want to put the rest of the cards away, because I'm only going to focus on these ones for now. Okay, so we know so he's ready to run. He's free-spirited. He's ready to go. He's creating something new. He's creating something new, manifesting something new, looking beyond the illusion. Here we've got the sense of waiting patiently. Trusting one's own intuition. Here we've got that mothery sort of figure, the creator. Here we've got the emperor, the provider. Here you've got the sense of knowledge coming from beyond. Faith, religion, belief. Here you've got the lovers, the relationship coming in with the choices, the ability to have this relationship, this intimacy. And then you've got this chariot with the direction, the triumph, the success. But I want to go through and have another look at the book. So it's going to take me a little time to go through these again. I want to go through and really have a good read of the book, dive into these a little bit deeper. So I think that's really important. To go through and just learn those first. So you can do this with any deck, right? And we're doing it with the, so what I want to do then, is when I've gone through and had a look there, I want to go through and have a look at what maybe the Visconti-Sforza says. So I want to go through and have a look and compare the meanings, just the upright, quick meanings of the Fool. So it just gives me an idea of some good keywords that I can use. Remember, it's just the first 0 to 7. So the first 8 cards is what we're going to look at. So going through the book and just having a look at what the book could mean, what the card could mean with the other cards that are from the same sort of, you know, whether I use the Spanish, the ancient Italian, the Visconti, Sforza, Tarot de Marseille. It doesn't matter which one I'm going to work with. So say I decide to do the Visconti-Sforza with it. So I'm going to pick out the first cards, right? Going through and having a look. It just reminds me what each card could mean. So it just gives us a little bit more deeper understanding. It's just a way to learn the cards, to understand what they are, and just to be able to use our knowledge to then be able to do a reading. But remember, we're not memorizing everything in the books. Just a couple of keywords and just expanding from there. And it takes practice. By being able to sort of to shuffle those cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle those cards. Let's shuffle. So they're a little bit mixed up in our mind, right? It's not hugely mixed up, but it's. But then what I'm going to do is just going to choose. I don't know what order they are. So I'm just going to choose one. Okay, so I've got the Empress. So today, I really need to focus on the Empress. Okay, so I've had a look in the book. I know what the Empress is in this book here. Right? So let me just choose. So we know it's about motherhood, right? We know she's the Mother Earth. She's about springtime energy, enthusiastic. She's intense as the Thor. She thaws anything around us. We've got that. She's waiting for watching the games of seduction on the. She's loving. Fascination and fertility. So she gives the birth of something. So she's giving the birth of something. So let's have a look and see what the Visconti-Sforza Empress is. Okay, so her words, just for her keywords. I'm not worried about her imagery. We know what the imagery is like. So let's just grab the imagery for the Empress. The keywords are feminine power, fertility, female charm, practicality, decisiveness, and paternal love, and material wealth. Okay, and then we can look at, say, the tarot. I don't know what. Oh, here it is. The tarot kit, right? So let's pull out the Empress here. And this one says, just have a quick look. Card points to abundance, material, domestic comfort, security, and protection. Obviously a maternal card, so may indicate childbirth, motherhood, nurturing, reassurance, and a firm foundation for future progress. The card is associated with springtime. Now it's ruled by Venus. Not that that matters too much. And then we've got, say, we've got the Spanish. So you just go through and have a look at your books. Have a look and see what they say. So you want to go through, grab the Empress here. Spanish Tarot. So let's have a look here. I'm just going to look at, don't want to look at too much. Security, pleasure, and harmony. Taurus, ruling planet Venus. Empress encourages you to enjoy material comfort, sexual fulfillment, but to avoid overindulgence. Financial position will improve, tells you to be circumspect, do everything you can to increase your money in a safe way. She does not encourage risk-taking. Under her influence, business partnerships will flourish, harmony in your life will increase at this time, and with you it will come emotional security. If you're feeling ready to start a family, she indicates that now would be a good time to do so, for she has some bearing on procreation. Questions. Am I being sensible where money is concerned? Is money too important to me? Should I get out more? Am I overeating? Am I overweight? Am I forthcoming as I should be towards my partner? Am I being possessive or even jealous? And should I try to improve my sex life? So security, pleasure, and harmony. So it just gives you an idea by going through the books. So we've sort of dived a little bit deeper into the Empress today. Okay, I'm not going to go through all the cards. You can do that yourself. I just wanted to sort of give you a tool or a suggestion in how you can enhance your tarot study by taking out the cards, having a look at the different meanings, different books, different thoughts, different ideas. You can have a look online. There's lots of websites. Just gives you an idea how to dive deeper. This is just tarot study. You're just developing your own more information. You're just grabbing more information to sort of learn a little bit more about the card. Doesn't mean you have to memorize it. Doesn't mean you have to use it all. Just for knowledge. It's just for your information. Just to gather a little bit more insight into what the card could mean, so that when I come back to reading with this deck, I can remember this card is about fertility and abundance and so much more. So this is going to be quite interesting. Anyway, so that's it from me. Don't forget to check the links down below. Check the links on my channel. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care.